Hi, and welcome to Yoga in Your Living Room. I'm Brentan Schellenbach, and today's practice is geared towards full splits pose. So we'll use the beginning portion of our practice to prep our hips. We're particularly going to be looking at hip opening and hip integration because we want to play both of those things pretty much evenly as we approach the full pose. I have, for my props, 2 blocks. You can use yoga blocks, or if you don't have those, like Harry Potter sized books will do. I also have a blanket here because I have tender knees, so I always like to be comfortable. So when you're ready, we'll start in Tadasana, mountain pose, at the top of the mat. Take this time to become alert and relaxed. And release the goal from your mind. And let your attention be so easily joined up with the breath. So you watch the breath as it starts, as it builds, as it finishes. And on the exhale, it's the same thing. Keep breathing like this. And with eyes open or closed, next inhale breath, we can reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Feel the feet press down into the floor and lift up. And exhale, take the hands together in front of the chest. And inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Stretch the torso, the rib cage. And exhale, forward fold all the way down. This is one of our target stretches for full splits pose, the hamstring stretch. So we'll be here for 5 full breaths. And this might be a time where you might decide you want to step the feet wider, turn the toes in, or relax the knees. And as you really hover your weight evenly between the front and back of each foot, stretch the sitting bones away from the backs of the knees. Relax through the upper back, the neck. And then we can heel toe our feet back into a position that we like for halfway lift pose. So hip width distance or maybe big toes together. And then on your next inhale breath, use your belly. Stretch your spine all the way forward. You might be at a way different height and space here. So the goal is really to get that elongation through the spine, the whole rib cage stretching out, your legs strong, shoulders on the back. Get super long from tailbone to skull and big breath into lower belly. And then exhale, forward fold. Keep the backs of the legs long this whole time. So inhale. Lift forward and up. Still stretch the sitting bones away from the backs of the knees, strong thighs. Exhale, forward fold. And one more. Inhale, halfway. And this time, exhale, we'll take the hands right under the shoulders and move the knees back and down for tabletop position. So layer the hands right underneath the shoulders. Get the hands nice and strong and use the abdomen to wave and support the spine. Let's just warm up. Inhale, tilt the tailbone up, stretch the heart forward, look up. Exhale, curl and round. Take 2 more of those. We'll meet at neutral spine here. Abdomen waving towards the back wall. Or by back wall, I mean of the body, so towards the spine. And then lengthen tailbone to skull, get nice and long, inhale. And see how held together your pose is, and we can test if we tuck the toes, lift the knees to a hover. Breathe, lift the sitting bones away from the backs of the knees, hold your belly in. And exhale, sitting bones tilt skyward, downward facing dog pose. And drop through the back of the head and the neck, and just let the pose be nice and easy and free. So let's keep the left heel grounded towards the floor. And inhale, we'll stretch the right leg all the way upside down. Get the heel to energize back and up, back and up, back and up. Big breath in. And exhale, move the knee forward. And we'll get strong and ground the foot down. So just a nice easy lunge to start. Drop the back leg, stretch the front pelvis forward, and lift the heart. And just nice and easy, as I said. So you can even kind of sway your pelvis a little bit left to right. Forward, backward is good too. When you're ready, lift through the back leg. Get strong here for a moment. Squeeze into the pelvis, root through the back heel, and stretch long through the chest. And then exhale, move the back foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, stretch forward. And exhale, forward fold. And inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, press and stand upright. And inhale, lift the arms. And exhale, ground the hands. We'll continue to stretch the front left side of the pelvis. So let's heel toe the big toes together. And if that doesn't feel so good for you, you can take your book or your block in between your legs and hold your feet wider, but just so the inner thighs have something to press against. Root down through your feet, wave the arms all the way up to the sky. And you might want to stay here, or you can tick-tock your arms open to cactus. And whichever arm variation you choose, if the arms are overhead, you can interlock everything except the pointer finger. Lift all the way up, breathe in. And on the exhale, lift up and over the right side of the pelvis. So you're just pressing the weight over into that left foot. And the goal is to take full 3-dimensional breaths to the lower abdomen. Really push out through the feet. Take a big breath in, lift up. And exhale, forward fold. And inhale, halfway lift. This time we'll move back, plank position, top of a push-up. Root back through the heels, get the shoulders nice and strong, and just teach the legs to plug into the pelvis since we're working with the hip intelligence. Downward facing dog pose. Keep the right heel nice and grounded. Inhale, stretch the left heel up to the sky. And give yourself a moment here. Stretch the heels in opposite directions. Push and lift with the left heel. And exhale, let's move the knee forward and ground the foot. And nice, easy, low lunge here. So we drop down to the back knee. And we just let our bodies start to warm and relax. So nothing too intense too soon. You can take any type of movement that feels good. We can lift through the back leg when we're ready and secure this lunge here. So get really smart through the lunge. Root back through the right leg. Wave the heart beyond the left big toe. Big inhale. And then exhale. Gently get buoyant and move the right foot all the way forward. Uttanasana, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, press and stand upright. Inhale, wave the arms all the way up, breathe in. Exhale, hands together at the chest. Let's heel toe the feet together and draw energy from the feet all the way up the legs like you're putting on a really tight pair of pants. Lift the arms. Okay, interlock everything except the pointer unless you did cactus on the other side, in which case do cactus here. But press down into your feet, lift all the way up here. Draw your two frontal hip bones toward each other, lift up and over the left side of the pelvis. And keep breathing into that lower abdomen three-dimensionally. And inhale, lift all the way up to stand, reach up. And exhale, hands together right in front of the heart. And let's keep our foot position or change our foot position to chair pose legs. So second toes pointing forward. And when we're ready, we draw down and we reach back, or forward with the arms rather. And draw the weight back into your heels. Really get the pelvis directed down and back directionally as if into a really deep dining room chair. Hold your torso totally together. You can get your face really soft. And exhale, forward fold pose. And inhale from here, halfway lift pose. And exhale, hands down and under the shoulders. We'll go back plank position. Again, let's learn how to use our legs in plank, rooting back through the heels, plugging the thigh bones into the pelvis, push out through the fingers and get the spine long and buoyant. You can even shift a little forward and back, so you should be really soft, really easy here. And then exhale, move back, downward facing dog pose. Inhale through the nose, and exhale through the mouth. One more. Keep the left heel rooted. Inhale, stretch the right leg all the way up. Root back through the heel, lift up, lift up. And on the exhale, move the knee forward and draw the foot in between the hands. And this time we'll set up for our high lunge pose. So the deepest hip stretch our body will give us is when our front shin is at vertical, our back heel is at vertical. So you just work your body into the place where it should be working in today. And squeeze the legs into the pelvis. Look beyond the front toe with the heart. And exhale, come up to stand high lunge. And in front of the pelvis draws in. Lengthen the organ body back to the spine and wave the arms all the way up, high lunge position. Okay, we're training the back leg for full splits pose here. So lift up through the heel and draw the front of the thigh bone into the pelvis, up and into the pelvis. So this is not just hip opening, but hip integration. Take a big inhale, stretch up, lift up, and exhale, take the hands down and forward. Wave the heart beyond the toe, inhale, exhale, get buoyant, lift forward and fold. Inhale, halfway lift, stretch up. Exhale, push and stand upright. So nice neutral hips. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, ground the hands. Inhale, stretch the arms all the way up to the sky. And exhale, relief and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, hands under shoulders and plank position again. So give yourself a little bit of time to set yourself up here. Get easy with the breath. And if you're still building your chaturanga, go ahead and lower down to your knees and take your flow that way. But if you're ready to do it with knees lifted, big inhale. And exhale, lead with your heart and your chin come down. Relax your pelvis, the tops of your feet. And once we get down here, it's good to relax. So just stack your hands, take your forehead down, and then exhale, go through your mouth. Take another one like that. Just wave your pelvis a little bit left to right. Full relief. Okay. We just taught ourselves how to plug our thighs in on the front of our pelvis. So we'll do that here. Stretch your hands back underneath your elbows. Lift your legs up, stretch them back one at a time. Fan your toenails open, root them down, especially the outer toenails. And then feel the hamstrings broaden left to right. So right like where the butt crease is. And then feel the low back stay broad left to right. And now, just like you felt in your high lunge in your back leg, can you plug both of your thigh bones into the front of your pelvis? And now keep that whole directional active, that's the word, active motion in the legs. And then grip the floor with your hands and start to curl up into a back bend. And so teach your legs how to participate in this back bend motion. Stretching back, drawing into the front of the pelvis. And then let's go back, downward facing dog. And keeping the right heel nice and grounded. Inhale, stretch the left heel all the way up. And exhale, let's move it forward. Ground it down for high lunge position. So you set your body up in the biggest hip stretch that's advised for you right now. Inhale, wave your heart long, and then exhale, curl up. And so each moment of this, work your breath and work your pose, and only make changes to your pose that are advised by your breath. And exhale, take the hands down and forward. Get nice and buoyant in your back leg and come forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, push and stand upright. Inhale, lift the arms all the way up to the sky, breathe in. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, hands right underneath the shoulders. Step back again, once more, plank position. Take a moment here, root back through your heels, get your legs strong and active, get your spine all in one line. Take a big inhale, and then lead with your heart and your chin and come forward, chaturanga. And release. Soften everything down to the ground and take a moment to really set up your legs. So consider that intelligently. Stretch them back, fan your toenails open, squeeze your thigh muscles, and squeeze the thigh bones into the front of the pelvis, with those muscles. And then still widen the toenails and still stretch the toenails out and back. Take your hands underneath your elbows, curl up into the best back bend that you can be in. And that means the one that actually feels good. And exhale, come back, downward facing dog. Keep the left heel grounded. Inhale, stretch the right leg all the way up. And exhale, pull the knee forward, ground the foot. We'll start to open the hips just a little bit. So ground your back foot, step it forward until the whole foot goes down easily. And then the left toes can just be open to the upper left-hand corner of your yoga mat. And root down, curl all the way up to a standing position. And with straight legs, balance your torso right in between them. Root down through your feet. And then squeeze your legs all the way up into your pelvis. And make sure that your left frontal hip bone is drawing in. And now secure your back leg in an energetic exchange by rooting through the back heel, drawing the left thigh away from the pelvis, and taking the front pelvis in. And then we'll start to come down for warrior one, so it's going to deepen this stretch. If you need more space, you heel toe the right foot forward. And try to work your feet evenly down and squeeze up into your pelvis. You might wave your arms up. Really lift your back ribs away from your low back, root through your back heel. Look up at the sky, open your chest here. That's also a part of full splits pose. And when we're ready, hands together right in front of the chest. Draw the hands down right onto the pelvis. And let's go ahead, take a forward fold, step the left foot back even farther. So now you're in like a deep, high lunge on your right. And then the left hand can go down underneath the shoulder. You can also place it on a block if you like. And then you can roll the right fingers up to the sky for a twist. And now be concerned with the length of the back leg, so root out through the heel, get the thigh really lifted as you sit into the front. Draw your belly back to your spine, lengthen your left hip to the left armpit as you roll open. And then exhale, release to the inside of the right foot. And as that happens, you can walk all the way over to the center of your yoga mat with the toes pointing in the same direction as the chest and body. Forward fold. So it's also kind of important to have the whole circumference of the hip really open, even though you're working the legs on the front back plane. So start with some fan lunges down here. Just go left to right a little bit. It'll intensify the stretch in each of the inner legs. And then we'll even take just another little moment to stretch and work down here. So you can walk yourself back over to your right foot, turn the right foot open, sit deep into it as if it were going to warrior two. And from here you can just press your right arm into the leg and kind of roll your chest open a little bit here. That'll intensify the hip stretch. And you can just lift your left elbow up to the sky and let your head dangle. And then you can flow back down, go over to the other side. So just out turning the left toes now, sitting deep into the leg. Left arm to the inside of the left shin. And as you roll the chest open, that might just start deep in that experience where you might lift through the right arm, but still you let yourself be really dangly through the skull. And release. Did I say you could have your hand on a block? Because you can. Forward fold. And then just rooting down through the feet, let's walk back to the right foot. Sitting nice and low here, let's step the right leg back, downward facing dog position. Next inhale, stretch the left heel all the way up to the sky. Exhale, draw the knee forward, pull the foot through. And let's step the back foot in slightly, foot totally grounded, toes slightly open, and come up to a standing position with straight legs. And let's use our legs evenly here. So push down, squeeze up. That's pretty much like a solid rule for integration, is we want everything to feel like it's working evenly. And then we can start to descend into the left knee. And just keep checking in with your breath here. Keep checking in with your comfort, because that's really the ultimate guide, or should be at least. We want all of these movements to be healing on the pelvis, healing on the hips. Not like we're trying to bust through barriers that we've decided it's time to bust through. Always feel like this lunge is created from the back heel pressing down, tailbone rooting forward, back ribs lifting, big breath in. And then exhale, hands down and forward. We'll turn it into a lunge. Lift the back heel, smush it back a little. And then get the pelvis set evenly between the legs. You could balance a cup of coffee on your low back. Squeeze your legs into your pelvis. With right hand on the floor or on a block, twist open. Really do your work to secure your legs and your pelvis here. So when your legs and pelvis are totally 100% secure, then the chest really has freedom. And let's release that hand all the way back down to the floor. And then from here, we'll go ahead and move the back foot all the way forward, forward fold pose. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, push and stand upright. Root down through the feet, inhale, lift the arms. And exhale, draw the hands together in front of the chest. 3 breaths. We can release the hands, let the eyes flutter open. And we'll begin to approach our full splits work. So this is where I like to set up my blocks, or your Harry Potter books, at the top of the yoga mat, one on each side. And as I said, I had sensitive knees. So if you do too, find some cushion, put it on the center of your yoga mat. And this is also the time to really sync more up with your breath than with the goal, because the breath will let you know which is the next action to take in your pose that will actually get you towards your goal eventually. So from here, we'll take the right foot forward and the left foot back for pyramid pose. And this is Warrior One starter stance. So we've already been here. The back foot just slightly open, and your foot can be as close or as far away as is comfortable. From here, hands on the pelvis, root down through your feet, squeeze up, take a big breath in. On an exhale, we'll forward fold, trying to really fold the front of the pelvis over the thighs. And so bending the knees as much as we need to in service of getting the front pelvis to relax over the thigh bones. And in this case, the right thigh bone particularly. Now, once you come down here, you might be much more lifted from your leg, in which case you'll definitely want your hands on blocks or on a coffee table or really whatever you can get your hands on, because you want to feel the spine super soft and relaxed. The part of the stretch that we're particularly focusing on is really the part of the body that gets shortened with all of our sitting. And that is that when we sit, we really scoop the tailbone down and under. And so part of us kind of erasing that is elongating through that space. So you want to stretch the right sitting bone up away from the back of the right knee. And if you're not too familiar with that part of your body, just think like the back of your right leg, the top of it, it wants to start directing its energy up towards the sky. Up towards the sky. And you can even use your hand back there and take your fingers up towards the sky on your hamstring and push into your hamstring and press upward toward your butt. And so this is actually the stretch in the front of the leg in full splits pose. So a really beautiful way for us to reverse the effects of sitting. And we're probably good for now. So let's go ahead. I like to take my hands on blocks at this point. We'll come into a low lunge. So keep the right foot forward, drop your left knee down to the floor. I'm actually gonna scooch back just a little bit. Okay. So we'll come into our low lunge with our right foot forward, left knee down. And I'm gonna come all the way up, in fact, because this is a lot of hip work today. So part of our integration is that we want the bones to be tracking totally in neutral. So this means that both of your frontal hip bones want to track with the center of their knee and the second toe. So the center hip bone, center knee, center ankle, center second toe. So once we have that in the back foot, let's secure it by tucking the toes under. Okay, we want to watch the pelvic movement on here as well. So we'll start to track the pelvis back, playing the edge of the right leg towards straight, and again trying to tilt the front pelvis over the thigh bones, trying to stretch the right sitting bone away from the back of the right knee, root the heel forward, and use all of the energy of this right leg to squeeze the leg into the pelvis. Now this position with the right leg is totally full splits pose. Come forward again, low lunge. This position with the back leg is totally full splits pose. Now from here, we're gonna gently stay more towards the lunge, but you can pull out of it slightly. And make sure again that each frontal hip bone tracks with the center of its knee, the center ankle, and the second toe. And then we're gonna start to heel toe the right foot straight forward so that the second toe is still pointing forward. All bones stay in the same rotation. Okay, once we get it far enough forward, some of us might be able to flip up onto the heel. And at this point, we'll be able to push through the right heel. But as we do that, we don't wanna take the pelvis with us. So that's a super dramatic little thing that I just did, but we want the pelvis to stay where it is. So we're really getting the mobility from the back of the right leg. That's what it's telling us. Okay, and then we'll lift the back leg and see, can we kind of like schmooze your back knee back, again without torquing the pelvis open. So we want to keep the pelvis totally straight forward. This is the trickiest part, and this is why full splits is not just about hip opening, but it's about hip integration. Now, walk yourself back. If you can't stay in this pose, you've gone way too far too fast. So my suggestion is pull out and only go as far as your breath allows you to. Now, once you kind of get to the spot where you're like, this is it, boys, ladies and gentlemen, you might be able to take one of your blocks and put it underneath your right hamstring and actually prop yourself up onto it. Okay, and if that's the case, you might be able to lift your arms all the way up to the sky. And we're here for 2 more breaths. Wow. Take your hands down and be careful with yourself. Come forward. You know how to pull out of it, but go slow. Stretch your pelvis back, your right leg back. Bring your right knee around to meet your left, and just take an easy, relaxed, seated position where you can close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. And let's be empty of goal. Let's just let our attention be totally joined up with the beginning, the duration, and the end of each breath. And let's come forward for pyramid pose on the left side. So the left foot can go forward, the right foot can go back. Pretty much the same setup as warrior 1. Let's take these down for now. Okay. Root down with your feet. Squeeze all the way up through your legs. Lift up through your heart. Big breath in. And then exhale, we're trying to get the pelvis to fold forward, over the thighs, and fold. Lots to know in each of these poses, so as you are in your learning process, really be guided most by what you find that feels good. And feel free to keep bringing that stuff into each practice. Now to reverse the effects of sitting, again, we want to be lifting through the left sitting bone or the back of the left leg. Lift the top of it up to the sky and give gravity more authority over the front of the pelvis so that it falls effortlessly, evenly down. And forward folds have really calming benefits, really kind of nurturing, put you to sleep, make you feel like everything's okay type of benefits to them. So take those in here. Let your face relax, let your breath relax. And then we'll move into a low lunge with the left foot forward. So we just want to take our time here to really align the bones again so that the frontal hip bones are tracking with the center knee, the center ankle, and the second toe of each leg. We want to also be good about building the awareness of both legs at one time so we can feel them both together, not like they're totally separate from each other. We want to keep the pelvis tracking in this direction as we start to move it back in space and take ourselves more towards Ardha Hanuman, half splits pose. So again, your hands might be much more lifted. Your chest might also be more lifted, but our primary goal here is again to align the pelvis in the neutral bone position. And then also to track the left sitting bone just away from the back of the left knee. And it doesn't need to be super aggressive, but just so you feel like you're not scooping the tailbone underneath you here. And now we're ready to put the whole pose together. So come forward into splits pose. Whoop, not there, not yet. Come forward into low lunge. And we want to make sure that the pelvis is tracking through the center knee, center ankle, second toe. Squeeze the heads of the thigh bones into the pelvis. And that's particularly something that we don't want to lose either, because that'll keep us from overstretching. So keeping all of that, we'll begin to heel toe the left foot forward with the second toe just going in. And as you go, make sure you're not like twisting the pelvis open with it. So the left hip is pulling back, and can you still feel, even as the left foot heel toes forward, that the thigh bone is plugging into the pelvis and the left sitting bone is directing away? And you might flip up onto the left heel, push through the left heel just a tad. And then we'll do the back leg. So we'll lift out of that hip stretch with the knee and then push all the way back as far as our body will let us go. And we find ourselves here. Now might be the time to walk ourselves more directly in between the two legs here. Squeeze into the pelvis, lift up. And if you have any more that your body will give you, then you go there. And if your front leg is at a lucky height, you'll be able to snuggle your block or your book under your hamstring and just rest there. And we'll try to take 3 breaths. And let's release. Take the hands and heart forward. Let the pelvis back, slide the left heel close to the body. Take it back. Have a seat. And observe. So let's meet down on our backs. And this is where we'll get a little bit of hip relief. So to begin, when we come down, let the upper body go really soft. Step the feet nice and wide and just give yourself a little windshield wiper action, left and right. That should feel really nice. And let's even take a supine twist. So heel toe the feet back toward each other. And then lift your pelvis up and scooch it a couple of inches over to the left. Then we can stretch the right leg down, take the left knee into the belly. And if we take the left leg with the right arm and extend the left arm over to the left and look leftward, we can begin to float into a twist. And just try to relax your chest over to the left-hand side of your mat. And we can come back through center. Hug both knees into the chest. Roll a little bit left and right, which will help us reset the pelvis nice and evenly. Draw the feet back down to the floor. Lift the hips this time, scooch them a couple inches over to the right. Stretch the left leg down to straight, hug the right knee in. And then as you reach the right arm over to the right, you can even look over there. You might twist the right leg up and over to the left. Focus on deep, full breaths into the lower abdomen. And we can come back to center, drawing both knees into the chest. Rock and roll just a little bit. And if you still have your yoga blocks or your books, we can take them. It's optional. We can take them into support for Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together, knees butterfly open, thighs, maybe if you choose, rest into a prop. And now it's time to release all 22 muscles that cover the hip girdle. So the inner thighs release, the front of the pelvis, and the backs of the legs, deep into the gluteal space. Give a little more weight to your feet, so your feet effortlessly, just with gravity, root down and forward. And if you're super comfortable here, stay here for Shavasana. But if you want your second hip restorative pose, you can gently help your legs together. Oh, they feel so warm. And then we can go towards constructive rest. If you heel toe the feet open to the outer edges of the mat, you can let the knees fall in on each other. And let them fall evenly on each other so neither one of them is holding on muscularly. All contractions release. The heads of the thigh bones root themselves into the floor and into the pelvis, and you get deep relief for the low back. Let's open our hands by our sides, rest the whole body into the floor. Release the lips if they haven't already released. Release the tongue. And let the next 3 exhales gently travel out through the mouth. As this happens, drop your body more fully to the floor as if the floor were quicksand and you didn't have an issue with it. And you can start to move your fingers and your toes. You can yawn with your mouth or yawn with your arms and just take a good morning stretch. And staying as relaxed as possible, roll over onto either side, supported fetal position. When you're ready, push into your floor and come to a seated position. Thank you for joining in our hip practice today. We learned to open and integrate. And lift through our chest, we bow our chin down. Namaste.